Okay, lawn fans, are you ready? So, I've been talking to you guys a lot recently about the uglies, and the uglies being mistakes I've made or issues that I have in my yard. And hopefully it's helping you guys out to not make some of the mistakes that I've made or go through some of the issues I've had. Today is another issue of the uglies. As you can see, this is a pretty good tree canopy that I have in my backyard. The woods back up right back there. It's pretty thick. I'm in Northwest Georgia. I can't grow Bermuda back here. I can't grow zoysia back here. I'm limited to tall turf type fescue, a shade mix. That's it. And so that's what I've had back here. And pretty much until about 2 weeks ago, it was looking pretty good. Now, a little backstory on this is that my backyard was completely stripped of all the topsoil when we moved in here. There was a lot of water runoff over on this end. So I came in back here, brought in some topsoil, did a lot of mixing up of the soil, tried Bermuda a few times, so I had the soil from that, and then I found out, hey, you're just going to have to do tall turf type fescue. That's long story short. So everything looking good up till a couple weeks ago, and then I started to notice some issues. Now, what I've been doing back here is potassium, a moisture manager, and I'm trying to think, Humachar. And that's about it for the summer months, trying to keep it going, looking good. So we're in the middle of August. These are the dog days of summer here in Georgia, and I started to notice what looked like grub activity. Now, I put some insect control back here, specifically Grub X back here, and it looked like it was starting to tear it up. Right there. Looking rough. All in over here. You see all that? So, I came out here and I put some more Grub X down. Watered it in, and I noticed it's spreading out to different places back here. So then I started thinking, could this be fungus? Now, I've actively been treating this for fungus because that is very prevalent down here. I don't know about up in you cool season, guys, but down here in the south, fungus is very prevalent, especially with fescue. So I've had that out and around. I've propiconazole and oxystrobin. Been mixing those in and out. Now, here comes the issue that I found out today. So I always give advice on if people are saying, hey, my lawn doesn't look good, this and that's going on with it. I tell them what, but I didn't follow that same advice. So this morning, I got out here and I started digging around for grubs. There are no grubs out here at all. Nowhere. Nowhere. And if I had done this a couple weeks ago, then I probably could have not saved, because there's nothing dying here. I probably could have saved myself an issue and some hardships down the road. The yard's too wet. Way too wet. This is still clay soil down here. I've done nothing to really be able to get rid of this clay soil beyond the Humachar and some different type of additives that I put in, some bios and things like that, trying to change the soil over. Now, when I did start digging this morning, I noticed that the texture of the soil is changing considerably, but the basis of this still is Georgia red clay. So, what I've been doing out front that gets a heavy amount of sun, I've been watering it out there and getting my 1.5 inches in, and coming back here and trying to do the same thing. It doesn't get as much sun. This soil is holding a lot of moisture. So, I've got to let this soil dry out. So what that means is that I am probably going to let it go. Let it dry. And then I'll start over. Now, that doesn't mean I won't come back in here and maybe hit it for 5 minutes to cool it down in the heat of the day. I'll probably still do that a couple times a week, maybe 3 times a week for 5 minutes. But other than that, to keep the tips of it fresh and to keep them from being totally stressed out, that's it. Other than that, I have to let this dry out back here. There's nothing else I can do. So hopefully that's a tip for you guys. The basis of this video is you can give your lawn too much water. And specifically, this tree canopy. Oh, and I wanted to tell you guys, this area is being affected. This roof, I can't get out far enough, but this roof peak line, you can see the peak of the roof there. It shadows over here. So when the sun's up in the morning, it's shadowing directly on that spot. And then when it turns during the day to go to the west, the trees are catching it. So that specific spot right there is where the peak of the roof is. If I can get my fingers to do correct. That's the peak of the roof right there. That's not drying out. And then up there, That's keeping it from drying out. So there's just a couple tips for you. When you're looking at your yard, look at the shadows being cast from trees, from your roof, from structures, whatever it may be. That's going to affect how much that your soil is able to absorb with water and moisture. That's it. Bermuda Brian, out.